podcast has been following developments in the search for the Gilgo Beach killer from the very beginning. Shannon McGarvey, a host and producer of the podcast that's now been going on since 2019. It's called LISK, Long Island Serial Killer. I am fascinated by this. Shannon, welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for having me.
Shannon, we are laser focused on this story, as you are, and the search for the killer obviously goes back 13 years, right? That was when the first body was found. Now, you have poured over theories, you've spoken to so many experts, witnesses, and you just came out with season 2. Were you at all zeroing in or discussing Rex Heuermann as a person of interest? What did you think when you heard the name?
Shocked. I was with everyone else where I was like, what? Who is this person? He was not on our radar at all. It was absolutely shocking.
Now, you talk about in season 2, you know, this person of interest that you were zeroing in on. So that was not Rex, and you never heard of Rex's name?
No. The person of interest did live in Long Island, did live close to Rex Heuermann, but was not Rex Heuermann. I mean, like I said, not on our radar at all.
Can you sort of explain to people, because you were up on all of the developments with your source reporting, can you explain to people how confusing it was to get the 911 calls, to connect the bodies, to realize that the bodies had different MOs for their killings, so maybe it wasn't all one person?
Yeah, it took a long time, a lot of detective work. I'm not a detective, but a lot of detective work. And, you know, speaking to a lot of different people. It's a very complicated case that is stretched over a very long period of time and now continues to expand its reach. So yeah, it's hard to track, but I think that the best advice I have is don't give in to conspiracy theories, rely on facts, trust what you know.
Yeah, I mean, we had the police commissioner Rodney Harrison here yesterday. We had District Attorney Ray Tierney here yesterday talking about it's all about what we know, not what we think, right? As they continue to pour over the evidence, which there apparently is a mountain of coming out of the Massapequa Park home, as well as this storage facility. What are you hearing? I know you have a new episode coming out this week because of the latest developments. What are you hearing and focusing on?
Yeah, so personally, I am laser focused on the storage unit. I think it does not bode well. I think that, you know, there is probably a treasure trove of, you know, material at his home in Massapequa Park, but I think it's the storage unit that might be the sick key to all of this. So I'm just waiting in the coming days and weeks for information to hopefully come out. Because, you know, medical examiners were at the storage unit yesterday. And when a medical examiner is on the scene, it ain't good.
Right, and so, as we know as journalists, when a medical examiner shows up to the scene, it's usually because there's some sort of body or body parts. And our Mary Murphy was reporting on that yesterday. To be determined, though, because there has not officially been anything said, just to be clear.
That is correct. That is correct.
You dedicated 2 episodes to Shannon Gilbert. Shannon Gilbert is not tied to Rex Heuermann at this time. However, do you believe that there's a second serial killer?
No, at this time, I don't. Do I think it's a possibility? Absolutely. I also don't believe that Shannon Gilbert is connected to the Long Island serial killer case. I think that her disappearance blew the lid off of this, right, helped us find the Gilgo 4, but I don't personally believe that she is connected to a serial killer case.
There's so many fascinating things here. And, you know, Rodney Harrison yesterday said that he felt that the Suffolk County Police Department was unfairly criticized at times for their handling of the case. But, of course, he took it in a whole new direction, right, and it formed this task force that really is what led to all of this beginning in 2022. How important and crucial was the task force now that you have been covering this from the very beginning?
I'll just say this, Rodney Harrison is the man. He is a saint in my eyes. He did, his task force did in 8 weeks what the Suffolk County Police Department could not do in 16 plus years. And I say 16 because Maureen Brainerd Barnes went missing in 2007. So I have nothing but respect for the task force, for Rodney Harrison and what he's done.
Have you requested a jailhouse interview with Rex Heuermann yet?
No, I have not. And I doubt I would get it even if I did. But I did read that he asked his jail guard, is it in the news?
Yeah, well.
So, I mean, it's just shocking.
You know, you have folks, you're on Long Island, right?
I'm actually based in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Do you have folks on the ground in Long Island?
Yes, we have people out in Long Island right now.
Trying to speak to the family. We've obviously spoken to neighbors and former employees. Where are you kind of navigating your next episodes now that this kind of whole thing changed how your season 2 is approached?
Well, I think that, we're going to be focusing on the bail letter that reads as kind of a guide to the case. And I would actually recommend anyone who's just coming into this case to find that bail letter and then listen to our episode this week, because it really gives you everything you need to know. And it is a beautiful, beautiful detective work. I mean, I was amazed at the work that the task force did and prosecutors did in putting this bail letter together.
And moving forward, what do you make of the remaining cases?
To be determined. I think that we're going to hear of connected cases in the coming weeks and months. I mean, this is really the crime of the century as far as I'm concerned, and it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Have you seen, I guess a personal, non-related to this actual story, have you seen an increase in people listening to the podcast?
Oh gosh, yes, 100%. I mean, and our Twitter has been blowing up. Our podcast stats have been blowing up. I think we were like top 20 in all like podcasts.
Yeah, no, and a lot of podcasts, we talk about the internet sleuths, right? I'm sure you've seen some of these things now with people finding Rex Heuermann standing on the streets of New York via Google Maps and so on and so forth. These internet sleuths.
Yes.
How many tips did you receive over the course of the podcast that could have helped police, and did you hand them over to police? What was your relationship like working with the police on this?
So we worked with an area detective out of New Jersey, and I also have a contact in NYPD. So anytime we would get a tip, which we received a lot, but anytime we would get a tip that I felt like held some water, I would always pass it on. And I have other contacts in the true crime community who would do the same. The creator of GilgoCase.com, same type of thing. Anytime we would get tips, we would pass them on. Some of them were crazy though. Like my neighbor in, Winnetka is the guy. So, I mean, you have to be discerning.
All right, well, great work. Keep it up, all right? Shannon McGarvey, a lot of people listening from LISK, the Long Island Serial Killer Podcast. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
And Pix 11 will continue to bring you all the new information about the Gilgo Beach murders and the case against Rex Heuermann. You can find that information online at pix11.com.